The sky shimmered with an orange-red glow as the Tekkan fleet entered Earth's atmosphere. Captain Jun Kim stood at the command center of Earth's orbital station, watching the alien ships approach. Behind him, 20 representatives from Earth's nations waited in nervous silence. "Remember the protocol," Jun whispered to his second-in-command. "No sudden movements, no weapons visible." The largest ship, nearly twice the size of the others, slowed to a stop near the station. Its surface gleamed with a metallic sheen that seemed to shift colors in the sunlight. Commander Sue Park adjusted her uniform and took a deep breath. "This is it. First contact, everything we've trained for." A light flashed on the communication panel. The aliens were requesting permission to dock. "Grant them access to Docking Bay 3, June ordered. "Security team, maintain positions, but keep weapons powered down." The ship connected with a soft thud that vibrated through the station. Engineers confirmed the seal was secure and atmosphere levels were stable. Ambassador Hana Kim stepped forward. At 52, she was Earth's most experienced diplomat, chosen specifically for this historic moment. "I'll lead the greeting party," she said calmly, though her eyes betrayed her nervousness. The docking bay doors slid open. 5 tall, humanoid figures entered the station. Their skin was pale blue, almost translucent, with intricate patterns that seemed to pulse with light. The tallest wore elaborate armor with symbols that glowed faintly. "That must be their leader," whispered Dr. Lee, the xenobiologist. Ambassador Kim bowed slightly. "Welcome to Earth. We are honored by your presence and hope this meeting begins a friendship between our worlds." The tall alien studied her for a moment, then spoke in a deep, resonant voice. Their translation devices worked perfectly, converting the strange clicking sounds into English. "I am King Day of the Tekkan Empire. We have observed your planet for some time," Ambassador Kim smiled. "Then you know we are a peaceful people, eager to learn and share knowledge." King Day's expression didn't change. "We have seen your wars, your divisions. You are primitive by our standards." The Earth delegation exchanged uneasy glances. "We have made great progress in recent generations," Ambassador Kim replied carefully. "Our nations now work together for the common good. We've established colonies on Mars and Europa, developed clean energy." "Primitive," King Day interrupted. "Your technology is several centuries behind ours. Your social structures are inefficient. Your resources are wasted on petty conflicts." The temperature in the room seemed to drop. June noticed the other aliens had spread out, positioning themselves around the docking bay. Ambassador Kim maintained her diplomatic smile. "Then perhaps we have much to learn from you. We welcome any knowledge you're willing to share." King Day stepped closer. He was nearly 7 feet tall, towering over the humans. "The Tekkan Empire does not share, we conquer. We improve. We bring order." June felt his heart race. This wasn't going as planned. "Surely there's no need for conquest," Ambassador Kim said. "We can establish trade, cultural exchange." "Your understanding is limited," King Day interrupted. He raised what appeared to be a ceremonial staff. "Allow me to demonstrate the distance between us." Before anyone could react, King Day pointed the staff at Ambassador Kim. A bright flash erupted from its tip. Ambassador Kim's eyes widened in shock as she collapsed to the floor. "No!" June shouted, rushing forward. Security teams immediately drew weapons. Dr. Lee knelt beside the ambassador, checking for vital signs. He looked up at June, his face pale. "She's dead." King Day seemed unmoved. "I'll have 30 Earth days to surrender your planet and resources to the Tekkan Empire." He turned to leave, the other aliens following. "This is an act of war," Commander Park shouted, her hand hovering over her weapon. King Day paused at the key docking bay door. "War implies 2 sides have a chance of victory. This is not war, this is inevitability." His cold eyes swept over the humans. 30 days. Then we return with our fleet. Resistance is futile and will result in your extinction. The aliens returned to their ship. Within minutes, the Tekkan vessels were moving away from the station, back toward the edge of the solar system. On Earth, panic spread as news of the encounter reached global leaders. Emergency meetings were called. Military forces were put on high alert. General Tae Park, head of Earth's combined military forces, addressed the United Nations Security Council. "We have 30 days to prepare for an alien invasion," he said grimly. "But make no mistake, we will not surrender our world without a fight." Across the planet, scientists and engineers worked around the clock, studying the limited data collected during the brief encounter. Military strategists developed desperate plans, and in a hidden laboratory beneath Seoul, Dr. Jun Lee made a discovery that would change everything. "Their sensory organs," he muttered, studying the scans. "They're far more advanced than ours, but that might be their weakness, not their strength." The clock was ticking. Earth had 30 days to prepare for a war nobody believed they could win. The Tekan ships filled Earth's night sky like new stars. 29 days had passed since their first visit. In that time, Earth had transformed from separate nations into one united force. The remaining day before the promised invasion wasn't spent in panic, but in careful preparation. Dr. Jun Lee hadn't slept properly in weeks. His laboratory under Seoul had become his home. Surrounded by data from the first encounter, he had made a critical discovery. The Tekan sensory system is their greatest advantage, but also their weakness, he explained to General Tae Park. "Their eyes can see colors we can't. Their ears hear frequencies beyond our range, but this sensitivity can be overloaded." General Park looked at the designs on the screen. "You're sure this will work?" "No," June admitted, "but it's our best chance." Across the planet, defensive positions were established, not with traditional weapons, but with devices designed by Dr. Lee's team, emitters that produced specific frequencies of light and sound. In orbit, the remains of Earth's space fleet positioned themselves strategically. They weren't meant to win a battle, but to deploy the special emitters at crucial moments. King Dae's message appeared on screens worldwide exactly 30 days after the first contact. His blue face showed no emotion. "Your time has ended. Surrender." Now General Park stood before the United Nations cameras. Billions watched as she responded. "Earth does not surrender. We wish for peace, but we will defend our home." The Tekan fleet moved toward Earth with precision, their weapons charged, ready to demonstrate their superiority. Captain Min's small ship hovered near Mars, watching the alien armada approach. "Wait for them to pass," she whispered to her crew. "Remember the plan." The massive ships glided past, ignoring the tiny human vessel. When they were beyond visual range, Min's ship moved quietly behind them, deploying small devices that attached to the hulls of the rear Tekan ships. As the alien fleet neared Earth's atmosphere, Dr. Lee activated the planetary defense system. Thousands of emitters across the globe activated simultaneously, sending carefully calculated pulses of light and sound into the sky. Inside the Tekan ships, chaos erupted. The special frequencies disrupted their sensitive communication systems. Their navigation displays flickered with colors that caused disorientation. "What is happening?" King Dae demanded, as his flagship systems malfunctioned. The devices attached to the outer ships had begun broadcasting the same frequencies internally. On Earth, the defense forces watched as the perfectly organized Tekan fleet began to drift in confusion. Ships collided with each other. Some veered. "Of course." "It's working," Dr. Lee whispered, watching the data streams. General Park gave the signal for Phase 2. Earth's remaining space vessels moved forward, not firing weapons but deploying more specialized emitters directly among the Tekan fleet. Inside King Dae's flagship, the bridge crew struggled to maintain control. Their advanced sensory systems, usually an advantage, now overwhelmed their minds with painful input. "Impossible," King Dae raged as his ship's weapon systems failed to respond. "They are primitive. How can they do this?" Commander Sue Park led. The Earth boarding party. Using protective gear designed by Dr. Lee, they weren't affected by the disabling frequencies. They moved through the Tekan flagship with purpose, not killing, but disabling the suffering aliens they encountered. Sue reached the bridge with her team. King Dae stood defiant despite the pain the frequencies caused him. "You cannot defeat the Tekan Empire," he declared. "We already have," Sue replied simply. She activated a small device that neutralized the painful emissions in the immediate area. The Tekan crew gasped in relief. "We could kill you," Sue told King Dae. "You killed our ambassador without hesitation, but that's not who we are." Outside, the Earth forces had disabled the Tekken fleet without destroying a single ship. It was a victory through ingenuity rather than destruction. General Park addressed the world again as King Day was brought to Earth under guard. Today we have shown that humanity's greatest strength isn't our weapons but our minds. We adapted to a threat beyond our technology. We found a way to defend ourselves without unnecessary destruction. King Day watched in confusion as humans celebrated not his capture, but their own cleverness. They hadn't simply survived, they had completely changed the rules of the engagement. "We have much to show you," Dr. Lee told the Tekken King. "Perhaps you'll understand that being different doesn't mean being primitive." The unexpected response of humanity would soon lead to an even more unexpected understanding. King Day sat in a transparent cell in New Geneva, the newly built diplomatic center. 1 week had passed since his capture. He had expected torture, perhaps execution. Instead, the humans brought him files and videos every day, showing him Earth's history and culture. "I don't understand your strategy," King Day told Dr. June Lee during their daily meeting. "Why keep me alive?" Dr. Lee placed a tablet on the table between them. "We want you to understand us before we decide what happens next." Meanwhile, the Tekken fleet remained in Earth orbit, disabled but not destroyed. Earth technicians carefully boarded each ship, removing weapon systems but providing life support and communication. The Tekken crews were contained but treated. "Well, this makes no sense," a Tekken officer named Rock complained to his guards. "We came to conquer you. Why not kill us when you have the chance?" Engineer Yun, who led the technical team, looked up from her work. "Because that's what you would do, not what we do." Back on Earth, General Tai Park met with the United Earth Council. The Tekken communications indicate their empire expects either victory or no return. They have no plan for defeat with survivors. Council leader Jin nodded. "Then we must create a new plan, one they haven't considered." That evening, Captain Sue Park visited King Day with a new proposal. "Tomorrow, you will send a message to your empire," she told him. King Day's eyes narrowed. "You want me to surrender on behalf of the Tekken?" "No," Sue replied. "We want you to invite their leaders to witness something." The next day, carefully guarded, King Day was brought to a broadcast station. His message was brief, but sent clearly across the vast distance to the Tekken homeworld. "I remain alive. The humans have defeated our forces without destruction. They request the presence of the Imperial Council to witness what they call the Parade." 3 weeks later, 5 Tekken ships arrived at the edge of the solar system. Unlike the previous warships, these were smaller diplomatic vessels. They were escorted to Earth by human ships. "What is this parade they mention?" asked Elder Vin, the head of the Tekken Imperial Council. "I don't know," admitted the ship's captain. "But the humans have proven unpredictable." On Earth, final preparations were underway, not for war but for something the world had never seen before. "Are you sure about this?" Dr. Lee asked General Park as they watched the landing area. "No," she admitted. "But it's worth trying." The Tekken delegation arrived with weapons, but these were ceremonial only. Elder Vin, flanked by 4 other council members, walked with stiff pride despite her obvious concern. King Day was brought to meet them. He looked healthy and unharmed, which surprised the council members. "What have they done to you?" Elder Vin asked quietly. "They showed me things," King Day replied. "Things I did not expect." General Park stepped forward. "Welcome to Earth. The parade begins tomorrow. Tonight you will rest as our guests." The next morning, the Tekken visitors were brought to Seoul. They expected a military display, perhaps a humiliating procession of captured Tekken soldiers. Instead, they found streets lined with Earth's children. As the Tekken leaders passed, the children sang songs translated into the Tekken language about peace and understanding. "What is this?" Elder Vin demanded. "The first part of our parade," explained Dr. Lee, who walked beside them. "We are showing you our future." The procession continued to a university where students demonstrated technology that could help repair the environmental damage on the Tekken homeworld. "How do you know about our environmental crisis?" Elder Vin asked, shocked. "We studied your ship's databases," Dr. Lee explained. "We wanted to understand your needs, not just your weapons." The parade moved to a hospital next, where Tekken soldiers were receiving medical care for conditions they had hidden from their own leaders. "We discovered your troops suffer from radiation exposure from your ship drives," explained Dr. Min, the chief physician. "We've developed a treatment." By evening, the Tekkan council members walked in silence, their earlier arrogance replaced with confusion. The final stop was a simple garden, where King Dai waited with world leaders. "This is not a parade of power," General Park told the visitors. "It's a display of who we are. We want peace, not victory, cooperation, not conquest." Elder Vin looked at King Dai. "Is this true? Have they truly not harmed you?" "They have harmed me greatly," King Dai replied quietly. "They have destroyed everything I believed about them, about us, about war itself." As night fell, the earth glowed with lights visible from space. Not weapons, but a welcome. The turning point had come not through battle, but through understanding. The morning sun shone bright over Washington, D.C., as crowds gathered along the streets. This was the fourth day of what the world now called the Great Parade. King Dai and the Tekkan Imperial Council had already visited Seoul, London, and Nairobi. Today, they would see the American capital. King Dai no longer wore his battle armor. Instead, he dressed in simple Tekkan robes with earth symbols of peace added by human designers. He walked beside Elder Vin, their blue skin catching the sunlight as they moved through the crowded streets. "The humans continue to surprise me," Elder Vin said quietly. "They could have kept this as a military victory, yet they invite their ordinary citizens to see us." King Dai nodded. "They want their people to see us as people, not monsters." General Tae Park and Dr. Jun Lee walked ahead of the Tekkan visitors, explaining the significance of each location. Unlike traditional parades where the visitors simply passed by, this parade stopped at important places for learning and exchange. Their first stop was the National Air and Space Museum. Inside, amid displays of early aircraft and spacecraft, the museum had created a new exhibit, Tekkan ship technology alongside human space vehicles. "You display our technology for all to see?" asked Councilmember Gan, surprised. "This could help your military," Dr. Lee smiled. "Knowledge shouldn't be hidden. Your drive systems are more efficient than ours. We hope to learn from them and perhaps improve them further." A group of children approached, curious but not afraid. One small girl offered King Dai a drawing she had made, blue figures and pink humans holding hands under a yellow sun. King Dai accepted it with uncharacteristic gentleness. "Your young are not taught to fear us. We teach them to understand differences, not fear them," General Park replied. The procession continued to a university where Tekkan crew members, once prisoners, now worked with human scientists. Together, they developed solutions for problems both worlds faced: climate change, resource management, and sustainable energy. These were warriors, Elder Vin noted, watching a Tekkan engineer explain a concept to human students. Now they teach. "They were always more than warriors," Dr. Lee said. "You just never gave them the chance to be anything else." After lunch, where the visitors tasted Earth foods adapted to their biology, they visited a hospital. Here, humans and Tekkan medical experts worked together on treatments for diseases that affected both species. "Your medics saved my life," a Tekkan soldier told King Dai. "In our fleet, I would have been left to die because my injury made me useless for battle." King Dai looked troubled. "Is this true of all our injured?" "Those too damaged to fight are removed from service," Elder Vin confirmed. "It is our way." "Perhaps, Yum," said Dr. Min, the hospital director, "there are better ways." As evening approached, the parade reached its final destination for the day, the Lincoln Memorial. The massive statue looked down on the gathering crowd as the sun set behind it. General Park stood before the Tekkan delegation. This memorial honors a leader who helped end slavery and unite a divided nation. He understood that progress comes not from conquering others, but from lifting everyone up together. King Dai looked up at Lincoln's stone face. "Your history includes much conflict among yourselves." "Yes," General Park acknowledged. "We've made terrible mistakes, we've hurt each other. But we learn and we try to be better." Elder Vin stepped forward. "Why show us your weaknesses and past failures? A strong empire hides such things." "Because strength isn't perfection," Dr. Lee explained. "True strength is recognizing mistakes and growing from them. As darkness fell, thousands of small lights appeared around the reflecting pool. People from around the world held candles, creating a path of light. "What is this part of the parade?" asked King Day. "This isn't our doing," General Park said with surprise. "The people organized this themselves." A young woman approached and handed candles to the Tekkan visitors. "Each light represents a hope for peace between our worlds," she explained. Kingi. Dai held the small flame, watching how it reflected in the water. Something changed in his expression. The coldness that had defined him seemed to melt away. "All my life," he said softly, "I believed power came from strength, from conquest, from making others fear you." He looked at the thousands of lights surrounding them, at the faces of humans who had every reason to hate him, but offered peace instead. "I have never seen anything more powerful than this," he admitted. Elder Vin nodded slowly. "Nor have I." The true parade, they were beginning to understand, wasn't the formal procession through cities. It was the demonstration of a different kind, of strength, one the Tekkan Empire had never considered. The United Nations Hall fell silent as King Day walked to the podium. After 2 weeks of traveling Earth's cities, meeting its people, and witnessing its diverse cultures, this was the moment everyone had been waiting for. Would the leader of the Tekkan Empire choose peace, or renew his call for war? Behind him sat the Imperial Council members, their expressions unreadable. Before him, representatives from every Earth nation watched with hopeful but cautious eyes. King. Dai adjusted the translator at his throat. When he spoke, his voice carried throughout the hall and to billions watching worldwide. "When I first came to Earth, I saw weakness. I saw division. I saw a species that should bow before the Tekkan. Empire's strength." The room tensed. Dr. Jun Lee glanced at General Tae Park, whose hand instinctively moved toward the emergency signal on her wrist. King Day continued. "I was wrong." A collective breath released across the hall. The Tekkan way teaches that power. Comes from making others serve you, from taking what you want, from being feared. He looked down for a moment. "Your parade showed me something different. True power comes from working together, from helping others become strong alongside you." Elder Vin stood and joined King Day at the podium. "The Imperial Council has discussed the future of relations between our worlds. We came expecting to negotiate the terms of Earth's surrender. Instead, we must consider the terms of our cooperation." General Park stepped forward. "Earth does not seek the Tekkan Empire's surrender either. We seek partnership. Over the next hours, the foundations for peace were established. The Tekkan fleet would withdraw from Earth orbit, but some ships would remain as part of a joint space exploration program. Technology would be shared, with safeguards to prevent misuse by either side. Most importantly, a cultural exchange program would begin immediately. Humans would visit the Tekkan homeworld, while Tekkan citizens would come to Earth to learn and teach. As the formal negotiations concluded, King Dai requested something unexpected, a private meeting with the families of those who had died during the first contact, including Ambassador Hana Kim's husband and daughter. In a small room away from cameras, King Day removed his royal insignia and knelt before them. "I cannot undo what I have done," he said simply. "In our culture, we do not apologize for acts of war, but I have learned that some of your ways are better than ours. I am sorry for taking your loved ones from you." Ambassador Kim's husband, Jin, looked at the kneeling king for a long moment. "I want to hate you," he admitted, "but hate is what started this. It cannot be what ends it." He extended his hand, a gesture King Day had now learned meant peace. That evening, as Earth celebrated the new agreement, Dr. Lee found King Day standing alone in the memorial garden, planted for those lost during first contact. "You seem troubled," Dr. Lee observed. "Are you concerned about how your people will react to these changes?" King Day nodded. "For generations, we have conquered. We have taken. We have ruled through fear. Many will resist a different path. Change is never easy." Dr. Lee agreed. "We've faced similar challenges throughout our history. When nations moved from war to cooperation, there were always those who preferred the old ways. How did you overcome this?" "One step at a time. by showing that peace brings more benefits than conflict, by being patient with those who fear change. Back. On the Tekken homeworld, news of the peace agreement met mixed reactions. Military leaders protested. Some called for a new fleet to be sent to conquer Earth. But others, especially younger Tekken, were curious about this planet that had defeated their undefeated empire without destruction. 6 months later, the first group of human teachers, scientists and diplomats arrived on the Tekken homeworld. They were met with caution, but also interest. Earth's approach to education, medicine, and environmental restoration offered solutions to problems the Tekken had struggled with for generations. In return, Tekken engineers helped humans improve their space technology. Within 2 years, a joint mission reached Jupiter's moons, establishing the first research base beyond Mars. On the anniversary of first contact, King Day and General Park stood together on the observation deck of the new International Space Station. Below them, Earth shone blue and green against the darkness. "There is a saying among the oldest Tekken texts," King Day said. "The strongest metal is forged in the hottest fire." General Park nodded. "We have a similar saying. Adversity reveals character." Perhaps that is the greatest lesson, King Day reflected. Our near war revealed the true character of humanity, and in doing so it revealed the path forward for the Tekken. As they watched, a ship departed Earth, carrying the next group of visitors to the Tekken homeworld. Not conquerors or the conquered, but equals on a shared journey. The parade had ended, but the new understanding was just beginning.